Today is leg day, and I am showing you how I load the prime leg extension to get the most quad stimulus out of every single set. Yeah, this is my off-season growth series, and I am trying to bring up quads more, but I'm gonna show you exactly how to apply this to your own leg training. So we'll head to the gym, and we'll dive in. In the gym, we're only getting so many sets that you can spend before you can't recover. Just like if I gave you $4 to spend, you're gonna go and try to get the most value out of each dollar that you spend, and you only have 4 of them, and then you're bankrupt, you can't do more, right? Same thing with training. We have 4, 5, maybe 6 sets of quads that you could do. For every set, we wanna get the most stimulus possible. To do more sets, then we start really just digging into our recovery tank. So the beauty of a variable resistance machine is that we can adjust this profile to get the most stimulus out of every single set possible. The issue is that if you don't know how to load it right, you might not be fully maximizing it. And there's a lot of cool things about it too that we can manipulate if you're having knee pain or doing it in the beginning or even in end of a session. So some easy things to know on this, just so you get it in quicker. I want you to have this down really simple on these type of machines, is that you will see 3 pegs: the bottom peg, the middle peg, and the top peg. And you'll see that the farther this peg is away from this pivot point is gonna be when it's really heavy. So at the beginning, this one's far away, it's getting heavy. As this peg comes up over the pivot point, it starts to get lighter. So we're now removing load on the top peg. So if we only loaded this peg, it's gonna be really hard at the start, get easier towards the top. If we loaded this middle peg, well, this one doesn't change as much. So it stays pretty hard kind of in the middle of the movement. If we loaded this bottom peg, as it comes up, it gets farther away from the pivot point, making it really hard at the top. So the unique thing about this is that with a leg extension, and for most muscle groups here, how you position yourself, when the knee is fully locked and extended out, the short position is when the muscle can't have as much force to contract. However, as you lengthen this muscle out and stretch it, you get in a pretty good position to put a lot of force. So if you have a machine where it's really hard on the top, like your normal leg extensions, it might be really easy out of the bottom. So you might not be getting as much stimulus by the time you actually hit muscular failure. You might do your leg extension and you can't lock out, then the rep's kind of over. Now, if you don't have this machine, the quick solve is that, well, you could do some lengthened partials out of the bottom. But if you have this machine, that's where the beauty is in it. As we go through this, our lift today, I'll show you how I load it based on how I warm up. Then every set, as we fatigue and it gets harder to shorten that muscle and lock out, I can adjust this profile to keep allowing myself to keep tension and keep the range of motion going as I get towards muscular failure. So this is now getting more tension throughout the full range of motion under this point of maximum muscle contraction, which more time under tension with full muscle contraction means more growth. If you want to learn more on loading the prime machine and how to adjust the profiles, I made a free guide for you. Loads for pressing, back rows, lat pull downs, or even leg extension leg curls. It's in the description down below. Click the link, I'll email it out to you. It shows you how the profiles could change and how you move through your warm-ups and your work sets, just like we're doing in today's workout. So check that out. Right, so we're just gonna start with 2 plates mid-peg. That's on this one I stay mid-range as I'm doing my warm-ups. And we're gonna keep loading mid-range, as that's gonna be the best spot, like especially for being able to get some full shortening contraction. I could load the bottom peg. However, I find that this is more than enough to get enough short range contraction, and the leg extension is already so hard at the top that I don't use the bottom peg a lot for that reason. Now, when would you use the bottom peg? Would if you're coming back from like a quad injury or a knee injury, where the least risky point to load is the short position. So that's when you could start loading the bottom peg, but then transition to just doing your warm-ups, just starting with mid peg. So we'll just doing 2 plates here and just going through 8 to 10 reps. Warm up number 2, did 4 plates mid-range. So I'm gonna start moving to the top peg. Still doing build-up sets. I did like 6 to 8 reps here. So what I'm trying to do for my first work set is nearly a 1-to-1 ratio of mid-peg to top peg. And when you know you'll have this loaded right, is that your final rep will be a grinder from the bottom all the way to the top. It won't be this quick movement and then a stall out. It should be just a steady grinder the whole way through. All right, this will be work set again. It's pretty close to 1-to-1. I did 5 reps for my last build-up set. I don't do a lot of reps on these build-up sets. Again, it's more about touching the weight and moving up, making sure everything feels good. And then we're gonna work 10 to 15 reps is the goal on this first one. So that was the first work set, did 12 reps, and as you'll see, as I get towards lockout, it slows down. So we matched the strength of the muscle with the resistance profile of the machine, but as you fatigue, the range is fatigue specific. So we'll be more tired to be able to lock out. So I'm gonna move 1 plate to my top peg so I can keep being able to move to the short range and adjust this profile that way. Now, I start with leg extension on my leg day first, as if you want focus on quads, do a quad isolation exercise. Also, this is your opportunity to train the quad in a fully shortened position. Another thing about this too is that it'll limit your loading in your compound movements. So you'll have less systemic fatigue and more direct stimulus for muscle with it being able to use a lighter load. So again, this is all about spending our dollars. We're trying to get more out of every set that we do. And this is a structure way that you can do it. Now you absolutely can start with a squat first, but if quads are your focus, just make sure that is your limiting factor in the movement. And then if the leg extension was to be after your compound movement, then you could probably jump to more of a profile that looks closer to more linked and loaded over having to start with like more mid-range short and load in the beginning point. But I do see the benefit here, leg extension first, especially if you're dealing with injury profiles or if you're just an old guy like me. Well, it was fun in that last set. I wear wrist straps while I do these leg extensions to really pull down hard. Way easier, I don't have to think about my grip until your strap breaks. But screw it, you just keep going. Anyway, final set. As you see, like towards that last one, I couldn't lock out. So what I would note for next time is that I need to drop more load from mid peg and move it to top peg so I can get more out of that set. Now we're gonna do in the final set, third set, I'll move 1 more plate from the mid peg to our top peg. And now the reps aren't dropping much. Here I went from same loading on the machine from 12 reps to 11 reps. All right, so that was the final set, and that was pretty good grinder all the way through the top. Quads are already pretty lit. We're gonna go on hack squat and get a lot more out of that. This same setup can apply even if you have a prone lying leg curl from Prime. You could load it the same way and go through those steps. So get more out of every step that you do. That's going to keep you progressing and growing. If you want more information like this, I give a lot out of our newsletter. The link is in the description below. Click that. Every week, I'll send you in-depth on training, nutrition, and all things building muscle and fat loss. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and we will talk to you next time.